How's it going, Boop? Who's Junior here, and today we have a really horrible video to discuss with you guys. As you guys know, I'm a PlayStation fanboy, and we are going to be talking about the Xbox Scorpio today. Now, honestly, I'm going to be completely honest from the point of view of a PlayStation fanboy, but I'm going to be an honest PlayStation fan. So, we're going to go through all the details that have been released about the Xbox Scorpio / Project Scorpio. And we're gonna go through what I think about it and what I think it can mean for the future of console gaming. Now, right now you'll see some Horizon Zero Dawn background gameplay. Since it did win last time in the vote for which kind of gameplay you wanted to see, I'll just leave it there, even though it's kind of weird that I'm showing PlayStation 4 exclusive gameplay. But whatever, let's just get right into the video. Now, if you haven't been up to date, the Xbox Scorpio, and I'll just call it that right now, the Xbox Scorpio specs have been released, and the specs are basically the hardware, how it runs and stuff like that. So, as you guys know, the most powerful console right now on the market for gaming is the PlayStation 4 Pro. And as I said right now, for now, because officially the Xbox Scorpio will be more powerful than the PlayStation 4 Pro. And this is all the details that we have about it. Now, I'm going to be comparing it a little bit with the Xbox One S, which is a little bit, smaller unit than the Xbox One, but I believe it's a little bit more, it has a newer revision. So let's get right into this. Now, the Xbox One S had a GPU of 12 cores. Now, that may seem like a lot, but once you see that the Xbox Scorpio will have 40 cores running at 1172 megahertz, I swear it just blows my mind. But you guys do have to know that cores and clock speeds, even if you don't know what that means, the truth behind it is that doesn't really matter. You're not gonna get the 10 times the performance here than the original Xbox One S. You're not gonna get 100% better performance. You're just gonna get a little bit of a boost here. And although it may seem like I'm saying it's a little bit, it actually is a lot for a gaming console. But let's keep going with its impressive performance multiplier. It's getting 4.6 times faster than the Xbox One S. And that opens such a huge, possibilities for developers. Now, what I want to say for this are that they're going to have more to work with. The Xbox Scorpio is going to be 4K, native 4K, by the way, not upscaled like the PlayStation 4 Pro does. It will be native 4K, and that's what the developers can play around with. They'll have much more space for adding textures and stuff like that, and adding the 4K feature fully into the game. Now, does that mean it'll make developers a little bit, worried that it's too much work? Because developing a game for a game console like that is a lot of work, honestly. But how else are you gonna expand further ahead, right? But here we go, we're gonna go with the next one. Now, the Scorpio was announced with NVIDIA GTX 1070, and this graphics card can handle 1440p, which is Ultra HD. Ultra HD meaning 4K. So, like I said, it is native 4K, 100% 4K, not upscaled, not checkerboarded. It's honestly the 4 times the resolution of 1080p, which is pretty impressive. They did release a stress test with Digital Foundry, and in the stress test they had the Forza Motorsport, and it ran at 4K resolution with 60 frames per second. Now, listen to that, 4K at 60 FPS. Now, most things that when you hear that, you'll think of a PC. The PS4 Pro runs games usually when it's at 4K at 30 frames per second. So hearing this from the Scorpio really does, as a PlayStation fanboy, strike fear in my mind. I am totally afraid of what this machine can do. It's just impressive how far Microsoft are going just to prove a point that they can build a powerful console. But of course, what about the people that don't have a 4K TV? Now, this aka 4K gaming console does the same thing basically as a PlayStation 4 Pro. So if you only have a 1080p TV, you'll still be able to render everything at Ultra HD 4K, and it'll downscale to 1080p for a really sharp gaming experience. It'll look beautiful even on a 1080p display, because it's not actually being upscaled, or it's not actually being rendered at 1080p. Like I said, it's at 4K and it's being downscaled, so that means even though it's not going to be 4K, it will have better graphics than a normal 1080p screen would have. And like most PCs and the PS4 Pro as well, you can actually just amp up the performance of the game and keep it at 1080p. Now that means if you want let's say a game gives you around 60 frames per second slash 50 in the middle there. Well, if you put the performance up instead and leave the graphics only at 1080p, it'll give you a 60 solid frames per second on gameplay. So that means you'll have a smoother gameplay experience while still having a great screen to look at and enjoy the beauty of the game. Now, how much will this Scorpio cost? Well, no info on this yet, but people are mentioning that with the technology that it has and the hardware that it has included inside, this thing could come around up to around $1,000, which is a lot more than you could ask for. PS4 Pro comes in at $400, and by the time the Scorpio comes out, it's probably going to be even cheaper at around $350 with bundles and stuff like that. So thinking of getting a Scorpio for $1,000 might be too much. If anything, I think honestly, apart from what all the reviews are saying and stuff like that, or how much it'll be, I think Microsoft are going to be able to make it work and maybe put it down around $600. And although this isn't final, I know it's a long shot, and I know it has a lot of great hardware inside, but I think Microsoft can make it work. Now, when is the release date? Basically, when can you go and pick one up? It'll be around the holiday of 2017, and by the holiday I mean around December, November-ish. And honestly, I think Microsoft are taking a big step here, and they're giving it a chance, and it's a really dangerous chance. Just like Apple with the no headphone jack, I think Microsoft is doing the same thing. Now, like I said, this thing probably will be pricey, so Sony might have the advantage there. And from a perspective of a PlayStation fanboy, I know games aren't everything, but I think PlayStation's library is huge, and the upcoming games are good enough to keep a steady competition with the Xbox Scorpio, because as you guys know, the Scorpio is going to have the same library as the Xbox One and One S, and honestly, I don't know what's going to be happening. Honestly, I think it'll be a steady competition. Of course, Microsoft might get a boost here from the Xbox Scorpio, but I don't think it'll be that big of a boost to boost its sales up. But we'll have to see by the time it gets released and how much people are talking about it. The Nintendo Switch just released as well a little bit ago, around last month, and obviously it wasn't the greatest launch of all time, but it did bring Nintendo back, and I think the Scorpio can do the same for Microsoft and bring them back into the competition. And hopefully it does, because then that means Sony will step up their game. And finally, I think Sony can compete with Xbox, and at the back of my mind, it's saying games. And I know, like I said, games aren't everything. They're not going to define if the console sells well. They're not going to define if there's a bigger install base and stuff like that. But it does have an effect on how people look at something. Like if you see something with, if you see an ice cream truck with more ice creams, different flavored ice creams, you're gonna go for that ice cream truck. So I think this is what's happening here, and hopefully Sony does not let me down, honestly. And we'll see what happens when this Xbox Scorpio does release. We'll see how much of an effect it has to our community as gamers, and hopefully it's a good effect. Honestly, I don't want to, all of a sudden consoles start shutting down and turning into PCs, because consoles are unique. They're not PCs, but they're also meant for gaming. And if you guys do get me, then you guys probably do enjoy my videos, because this is what it's all about, guys. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys did enjoy this type of video. This is a new type of video that I'm trying to make. We'll see if we turn this into a series, like honest opinions from a PlayStation fanboy or something. But yeah, if you did enjoy the video, press that like button down below. If you didn't enjoy the video for any reason, comment down below and tell me what you didn't like, and I'll try to fix it in the next one. And I always read the comments, so thanks for all the support, anyone who comments down below. And if you did enjoy this type of video, I will be uploading more content like this on my channel, so go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you are already, thank you very much. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.